welcome back. Tim.
I was unaware they ever left.
You like to imagine they just stay
just glued
right there?
Just waiting. What are you guys doing?
Is there another one coming out soon?
You come out. It's like your dog at the door. Where you come out. I know you're coming back.
What if you just sat in a movie theater and refused to leave?
Do it again?
Just like, they're going to play another movie in here.
Right, but what if I did that again?
Like you do that.
Get arrested the first
pretty
time.
regularly.
Yeah.
You used to go, we went to a drive-in like several summers ago and you got 2 movies out of that. You get like a double feature. It's like, that's a lot of movies.
It's a lot. It's upwards of 5 hours.
It's too many movies for one night. Like, I don't know if that's the way it was back in the day as well, but when drive-ins were all the rage. But
what's it? Do you like, if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to like drive the car somewhere else, or is there like you just walk over?
The one we went to, there's like a central station of where the snacks and the bathroom and all that stuff is. But I mean, you're missing a bit of the movie because it can be a hike depending on where you got parked.
You can't hear it.
You can't hear it. No. You definitely can't hear it. We were actually talking about this recently. We got the streaming situation is now where it's like you can get the Hulu or the Peacock or whatever, all big sponsors of the podcast, shouts out. Mm-hmm. And then you can get the one with ads. The cheaper version has ads in it.
Right.
I have been like, ads are back in my life when I watch stuff. And I'm like not even mad about it at all.
Oh.
I'm like, what a great opportunity for me to like refill my drink, go get a snack, go to the bathroom, just stand up and move for a second. I don't know. You can
pause it. It's on the like 22-minute episodes of something that I lose my mind.
Oh yeah.
Why do we have to have 4 commercial breaks in 20 minutes? Agreed
to that. But in an hour-long show, I'm like, I missed this. That's what I said out loud. I missed this. This is how I grew up watching TV.
You know you can pause it. There's a button. It's got 2 little lines.
I know, but it's like I'm paying less and getting a feature if I just like do this stuff during the ad break. And I missed ads.
It's not a feature.
Am I a psychopath?
Yes.
I missed ads. Like good advertisements, bad advertisements. I missed them. I missed seeing them.
There are very few, if any, good advertisements. So let's stop you there.
Not many.
But you can you can pause it yourself. You can choose when to pause the thing.
Right.
That's an option.
Quick comment on that. I was watching a football game. NFL season just started, and they did an ad for this like cool dog food that's like fresh ingredient dog food.
Yeah,
did you see the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it's a ref, and he leaves a game, and they're pelting his car. I'm saying this for the viewer at home, if you didn't see it. And he's like sad, and he's like, he's just kind of a sad looking guy from the start.
Right.
And then he gets home, and he's got kind of like an older large dog, and he feeds the older large dog this nicer dog food. And he's all alone in a dirty house. Mm-hmm. And he feeds this sort of larger dog this very nice dog food. And then the drooly kind of big dopey dog comes and like sits and puts his head on the guy's shoulder. And the guy kind of pats it. And it was like, sometimes it's enough for today to just feed your dog a nice meal or something like that. Yeah. And I just was like, that never turned for me. That was sad the whole time.
Right.
All I can think about is that dog's gonna die like sooner rather than later.
Right. And the dog food should come with a bottle of antidepressants.
Right. We need more. We need more than the dog food.
Yeah.
Because the dog is carrying this man's mental health, and the dog is the hips are going on the dog as we speak. So
it's a big old hound dog too. Kind of looked like the guy.
That's what I'm saying. But it was like, also though, like, get out there and join a bowling team, huh? Like, mix it up. The dog's not gonna do it.
And the food that he squeezed out looked like a guacamole pack.
Right.
Too.
It was just.
Don't feed your dogs avocado or guacamole.
We wouldn't get to have this conversation if it wasn't for the good people in advertising, and thank goodness we get to talk about it today.
So yes, you are a psychopath.
I missed ads. I missed it. Well, today we're going to talk about the Bible. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Can we address the elephant or the sheep in the room?
What? Yeah,
It's
sure.
right next. It's right
Whoa,
here.
there it is.
For those of you watching on video, you can see it.
Yeah.
But for those of you not doing that, we have a visitor, a permanent visitor. I hope.
We have a friend who's with us now.
What's her name? Does she have a name?
We got some suggestions, which we'll review probably in the next podcast.
Who gave you suggestions?
Well, I asked the people. I showed them the.
Oh, you already
if you follow on Instagram, at The Bible is Funny, you've seen yet to be named sheep.
You.
Oh no.
You.
Look at you.
You are a part of this podcast.
Chopping it
That's
up
what
over
I'm
there.
doing. It's a sheep. It's a
Lamb
painting of a sheep.
Chop. It's a painting of a sheep by our very good friend,
Incredibly talented.
incredibly talented friend, Billy Work. Billy Work.
And his sense of style in general, he's so cool.
He's a very cool guy, and so if you're not following him, follow him already on Instagram. Great follow. He's a barber. He's an artist. He does like all these really cool things. He's like one of these like kind of annoying people in your life where you're like, you should not be able to do
Let it be known, I've never said
as
he was
many
annoying.
things well as you do them well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You should have more of like a focus, but you're so good at everything. He does these big murals around town. It's like unreal. But Billy took some time out of his day, made us a new addition to the Bible is Funny podcast studios.
And we'll name her by the next time. Maybe.
We will. We'll bring some names. We'll talk about it. But shouts out, Billy Work, man, he's the man. That's big news today. Also, we're going to dive into the Bible today, which is big news. If you're here with us for the first time, this is a segment we call Cheat Day Devos here at The Bible is Funny. We dive into the Word, and we get in there, and we read it together.
Can you, with the hand motions? That's so creepy.
So we're doing a Devo, pretty much.
I just want to get into me.
We're doing a Devo, but we call it Cheat Day Devos because we always want to make very clear that this is not your source of sound, doctrinal, theological, existential, perspirational truth. You know?
Perspirational?
Yeah. A lot of sweat goes into getting those PhDs.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we might be as qualified as the pastor at your own church, but...
But we don't know that.
We don't know.
We don't know that.
For sure or not for sure.
But this is what we do here. We dive in, we read, we chat about what sticks out to us.
Yeah. And we at least let you know that we don't know what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So,
which is the way I start all my conversations about every topic.
That's transparency, man.
Yes.
That's what we're here about.
Oh,
honesty,
yes.
transparency, fluency.
Fluency, cryptocurrency.
The great Red Sea.
The Great Red Sea, of course. So today we are going through Genesis chapters 39 and 40, and we're going to dive in together.
Yeah, you can read along in your King James Version Bible.
You can. Go into Pappy's den, dust it off, open it up. You know what I mean?
You got to unlock it first.
You got to unlock it with one of his hairs. There's a very... He did not want people going into his Bible. All right, Genesis 31, starting in verse 1.
39. 39. Say it clearly.
Did I mention how unqualified we are to do this? Genesis chapter 39. Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian, who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there.
I just like the job title.
What's that?
Captain of the guard.
Captain of the guard is a cool job title.
It is, and I'd like to think that that's what they actually called him back then.
Yeah.
I honestly, it sounds cool. I thought it was like a color guard title.
Sure.
Just for the kids that are swinging batons around.
Yeah. Captain of the Guard just flows. Mm-hmm. And I could not draw a map for you to like job descriptions and stuff, but I know it's a real job and it's serious and it's weighty, you know? Mm-hmm. It's weighty. Mm-hmm. He's doing a lot of 1,000-yard stairs in the office. Mm. I gotta captain this guard.
I gotta guard this captain.
I gotta guard this captain. If you were listening last episode, I know a lot of you were. This is like Joseph's journey. He's on. You gotta watch the last one if you want to be all caught up to speed on the story. We're starting here. The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered, and he lived in the house of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. A little bit of a less cool job title, just right off the start.
Attendant to the captain of the guard.
just the word attendant. It's like there's a real thing there, flight attendant, but it's just kind of like, I don't know, makes me feel like it's not as cool as captain of the guard.
No, make fun of attendants now. Go ahead.
We started high.
Can't wait to see your foot fit all the way in your mouth again.
Attendant, and it's like, we need a better title than that.
I actually admire attendants. If you're an attendant at home, then you are A-okay.
I like to attend. I like to attend things. I would be an attender, but I've never been an attendant. I don't think
you're qualified for that either.
I've never been an attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted to his care everything he owned. That's in verse 4. And this is something funny I wanted to talk about, Tim, because this was presented to me in Sunday school when I first heard the story. It's like, isn't that great? Joseph was doing such a good job. Potiphar liked him so much. Now he's in charge of everything. And then you kind of get older, and to me it's like, is that really that great of a prize though?
Oh, right.
Like you're so good at your job. You were doing so I don't know.
Have you ever worked for a nonprofit? That's what it's like. You get good at something and then they go, well, let me just give you a couple more.
You should do all the things.
I got more stuff for you to do.
This is the work like dilemma because Joseph starts maybe. It says the Lord was with Joseph, so he prospered. He lived in the house. His master saw that everything he got success and everything he did. We had to start with something, right? So it's like, hey, Joe, you're in charge of the horses. Can you just keep track of the horses for me? He's like, all right, this is probably 3-4 hours of work. I got to go out there and do it all. And I'm doing a nice job. Horses are in good shape. And he's like, cool. We're going to give you like more. Now I want you to be in charge of the horses and like all the goats and the camels and all the stuff. So now Joseph's like, oh, well, now I have a lot more to do every day.
You going to increase my budget? Or
you certainly not.
You're going to pay me more?
No, you're not getting any of that. You just get to be in charge of more.
But I'm going to get more recognition, right?
No, in a sense, in that I will recognize that I don't worry about that stuff anymore.
Right. It's a clever.
That's the recognition.
It's a very clever way to delegate work. I think. And it's like grandma going, hey, or grandpa going like, hey, I don't just trust anyone to mow my lawn. I'm going to let you do it and you can rub my bunions.
Right.
For a whole quarter.
Yeah, a whole quarter. Yeah, it's the, you do this with kids. You're like, you're the best at it. You're so good at picking up your room.
I know. And we think we do that to our kids, and really our bosses
do it.
Oh, thanks.
I've had a lot of people turn like Microsoft Word documents into PDFs. Nobody liked the way you do it. Okay, I'll do it. I'll make all the docs into PDFs. That's the reward for being good at your job, is you get to do more job. My classic example of this, and I've given this to you before, this is just such a funny, like, life real thing for me, is the defense of a football team. I think I've told you personally this as we were driving, doing shows. But, like, what defense of a football team gets an interception and runs it back for a touchdown. Like, they're so good at their job that they did the other half of their team's job. I stopped them from scoring points, and I scored points for us. What do you think about that? Look at that. And then their reward is like, guys, you did awesome. Get back out there.
You're on defense again.
We're on defense again. So you get to, that was so exciting. Go do more of that. That quarterback that's getting $100 bajillion is going to stay right there on the bench with his helmet off. But boy, you guys, I love you guys. Get back out there. Verse 5. From the time he put him in charge of his household and all that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar did, both in his house and in the field. So Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care. With Joseph in charge, he did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. Now, when I was coming upon this verse, I thought, like, that would be implied. You know what I'm saying? There's certain, when you say you put Joseph in charge of everything, I'm like, well, you didn't put him in charge. Like, there's certain stuff you're taking care of still.
I mean, Everything?
But he's like, no.
He's very specific, yeah.
It would be clear.
Potiphar
stayed in charge of the food he ate.
So is it, you think he's like, you think the concern was about like poisoning the food, or like he's got a particular thing? Like I can't trust Joseph to keep all the gluten and dairy out of my food. I'm gonna do that, at least that.
I thought about that. I mean, poison's the logical, like, real one. Like, that's a real concern. Maybe he was like, listen to Joseph's cool, but I don't know him like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead and do my own food thing. But then my secondary thought was, like, what if he's one of these, like, smoking meats guys who's like, I'm going to...
He actually likes doing it.
I'm going to do the brisket for 97 hours. And then you give it to your friends, and your friends all have to act like it's, like, the best thing they've ever had in their life. And it's like, yeah, it does. It tastes like some of the other briskets I've had. But I love that you love making it. Guy, Pharaoh. I love that you retained this part of your job.
I know, I get that. I would be the opposite. You make all the brisket. I don't care. I don't want to sit outside for 17 hours. That's not on my priority list for today.
Right. And it's not that it isn't good, it is good. Yeah. It's just it's the margin we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't get enjoyment out of that, like just sitting there process. Like my brother-in-law, he will do that. He's one of those guys. He'll just sit out there and wait all day long.
My brother-in-law too. He smoked a turkey for Thanksgiving, and it was lovely.
And I guess it gets you out of the house so you don't have to do anything else.
And that's the secret.
I know, but I still don't want to do that. I would rather go mow the lawn at that point.
Sure. So, Potiphar retaining charge of the food he ate. Now, this is continuing on in verse 6. Now, Joseph was well built and handsome.
Yeah, he was.
And after a while, his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said, "Come to bed with me!" Exclamation point in the NIV. What I like about verse 6 to 7 is it's like you're kind of framing Potiphar's wife as like she's doing this thing she shouldn't do. But at the end of verse 6, they give this line about Joseph that's like, but I mean,
you could see why
Joseph was
she was well built.
He was well built and handsome.
He's young.
Why throw that in?
Well, because.
Why is that a necessary?
You gotta know. It's not like she's going after him for his money.
Now, he's so good at his job.
Getting paid nothing.
Now, Joseph was well built and handsome.
The children's version of the Bible says she wanted him to have physical relations with her. Yeah. Which somehow sounds way more provocative and like icky than come to bed with me. The Message says sleep with me, so that just kind of it gets to the point a little quicker.
Right. It's the exclamation point in 7 is very like jarring to me.
Oh yeah.
Bed with me.
It's a demand.
Ain't even flirting. Verse 8, but he refused.
That's how I like it.
With me in charge, he told her, my master does not concern himself with anything in the house. Everything he owns, he's entrusted to my care. No one is greater in his house than I am. My master has withheld nothing from me except you. Well, my note and his food, which was specified earlier.
Right.
Because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God? And though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be with her.
Okay, but like, okay. Let's be real though. She's still talking to him every day. He knows what's going on. Now we're getting into like the Bachelor kind of situation here. This is the gossipy part of me. That's like, wait a minute. So he's still hanging out with her.
Like, he has to. It's his job.
Not to hang out with her.
Well, it says he doesn't even want to be with her. That's what it said.
Well, that's what it said. But, like, she's still talking to him. Yeah. And she's clearly made it evident that she wants him to sleep with her. Right. And yet he says, no, I couldn't. I wouldn't dare. But we could keep talking. We can keep hanging out.
He's in a tough spot.
Tell me what, like, if you told your wife, hey, there's another woman who's like, hey, she told me to sleep with her. And I said, no. But we still talk. We still hang out. Don't worry, I keep telling her no.
In his case, he can't. I don't know what his other move is.
I think he liked it. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know where I can get that from.
I think maybe. I'm just saying maybe. Again, sorry, Joseph, if you're listening now. And maybe
Joseph is listening now.
I'm attacking your character, but I'm not attacking him. I'm supposing maybe he's okay with it. He still hangs out with her.
This is what sticks out to me about this story is this is like such like what it actually is something that like never happens, or I should immediately retract that. Very rarely happens. So to me, it reads a little bit like when your kid is like, I got a tummy ache, and you're like, oh, did you eat that whole jar of M&Ms? No, I only ate like 2, and I got a stomach ache. And it's like, it's very unlikely that 2 M&Ms gave you ate the whole jar. That's what actually happened. But there's the case where, yeah, maybe, I don't know, something was funny about those 2. And like sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like there's always like that weird marginal, like I made up a story that's not really the story. But then there are like, yeah, sometimes that is what happens. And that's why it's like, it exists out there. That's how the story reads to me. It's like, it's so rarely that the woman is like so pursuing the man for this that he's stuck. What is he supposed to do here? Like this is not typically how this goes.
Right.
But it's how.
But he was very attractive.
He's well built and handsome. So one day, story continues on. He went into the house to attend to his duties, and none of the household servants was inside. She caught him by his cloak and said, "Come to bed with me."
Again.
She's got one line. That's it. That's how she got Potiphar. But he left his cloak in her hand and he ran out of the house. When she saw that he had left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house, she called her household servants. "Look," she said to them, "this Hebrew has been brought to us to make sport of us. He came in here to sleep with us, but I screamed. When he heard the scream for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house." She kept his cloak beside her till his master came home, and she tells him about this.
Just like next to her pillow, I guess. She's sitting on the bed.
Hold on to it.
Cloak's here.
The cloak.
This is my evidence.
Right, which is like a Joseph in cloaks, man. I mean, it's a cloak of many colors, and now it's this cloak. He's got to switch. He's got to switch to like pants, maybe.
Just leave his pants wherever he goes.
Well, maybe he wouldn't have all these problems if he would switch to like
wore pants,
shirts and pants.
That well-built, handsome man like that,
the cloak all the time.
Around just pants on.
He's doing the cloak, and that's causing the problems.
You're asking all the ladies, maids around the house, to be jumping on his bones.
So the wife says to her husband, "This is how your slave treated me. He burned with anger. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. But while Joseph was there in the prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden."
I just want to make it clear, the prison that he was in was the place where the king's prisoners were confined. So it's like white collar prison. I have to imagine
right.
You get like 3 solid meals a day, maybe a snack, you get some time in the yard, you get to watch some TV. It's probably kind of cush.
Well, it's kind of interesting in the end here. This is one of those things that genuinely piques my curiosity. Is like there's a hierarchy. Like it says here that the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in the prison. So within this sort of system, it's like
these prisons are underfunded, and they're having to take the labor take people that are in the prison to turn them into labor.
There you go.
Gosh,
modern problems are just yesterday's problems today. Mm-hmm. So the warden, but here we see this again. While Joseph was there in the prison, the Lord was with him, showed him kindness, and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in prison. Sorry. And he was made responsible for all the work that was done there. Now I'm just like stuck on this, like, man, you're the best prisoner. Like, you're so good at being a prisoner. You should be in charge of all the prisoners. It's like everybody's handing off work to Joseph.
Right. But oddly enough, not the food again. Not in charge of the food. Not a cook.
He can't. No. Yeah, we can't trust him with the food.
So maybe there's something there about Joseph that maybe he handles food in a funny way.
Yeah, I think he just maybe doesn't have a good palate. You know, like he's eating something, everyone's like,
doesn't wash his hands. Like,
that could be it.
This is heavily salted.
That would
and
check.
Also your fingers have grime under them. Can you wash something?
You know what? We're just going to put you in charge of everything but the food, actually. Keep those hands dirty. Mm-hmm. And we'll find someone else to do. Maybe I'll do it. Heck, I might do the food.
I love cooking.
So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in the prison, and he was responsible for all that was done there. The warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care, because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. So again, I have no doubts that Joseph's a super capable person, but I do think here we have 2 managers of things that are like super burned out and are like, oh sure, take this off my plate. I would love to pay no attention to this. So watch out for that in the workforce, kids. Act your wage, am I right? Okay.
Ooh, that's good.
Genesis 40. Sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their master, the king of Egypt. The baker and the cupbearer offended their master.
I get it. I mean, I get pretty angry at my baker and my cupbearer as well.
You have a reputation for going through bakers. That's for sure. Fire them left, right, and center. My question when I came to this is like, what is the most offensive thing a baker can do? And again, you go to like your practical brains, like try to poison him. And I'm like, maybe everybody was poisoning everybody.
Right, but you probably have him killed for that. Not just, throw him in prison.
Sure, right? Like this guy, I can't tolerate that. But if you're going to throw the guy in prison, like my first thought is, like you asked for a chocolate chip cookie and you got an oatmeal raisin cookie.
Yeah, that's enough. I'd put him to death for that.
The first, like, you were like, oh, I'm having a great day. You know, I'd kill for a sweet treat. You hook me up with a...
You give me an oatmeal cookie when I want chocolate chip.
Raisin.
I promise you I'll murder you.
Yeah.
You, Anthony, are done.
My second thought was maybe he did like a gluten-free recipe and then tried to not say it was gluten-free. To our gluten-free friends, I respect what you're going through. But I feel like constantly it's like, so I made this gluten-free. You're never going to notice. And it's like, we always notice.
We did.
We always notice. Just be honest about it.
We don't like it.
Just be honest. There's some gluten-free stuff I don't even mind. But it's like, don't be like, no, it's just normal. Try it.
My wife used to make, I don't know if you ever had these, but it was like, oh, these aren't brownies. This is a different kind of brownie. And I can say this because she's not going to hear it. But she would make these like black bean brownies. Did you ever have this?
One time this happened to me.
Honestly, they didn't ever like taste that bad. They truly didn't really taste that bad. But it was a different consistency.
It's just different.
So this sounds weird, but it's like black beans and chocolate.
Right.
And then like I don't know. There's some sugar in it. It wasn't like much.
Cacao.
And it tasted fine.
Right.
But after like 3 days, it was real weird, real mushy. And then you look and you're eating black beans, and it's sort of this mind twisty deal.
Uh-huh.
And I would do the same thing. That was like I wouldn't tell people that there were black beans in it if I was going to offer them. Mm-hmm. But like, how could you? How could you say that there are black beans in here? Here, have it as a dessert. Freaking weird, man.
This happened to me with an avocado pudding one time.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, just try it. It's chocolate pudding.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, okay. Why did you make chocolate pudding? That's such an odd choice. Why is this not in a snack pack? This is the last time I had pudding, they were in snack packs, and now it's like in a bowl.
And then I got it all over my shirt, and then I had a quick run to recess with pudding on my shirt.
And then you're like, how's it taste? And you're like, kind of like pudding, but not exactly. If I'm being honest.
It's made from avocado.
Send that person to jail.
Mm-hmm. I mean, now it makes sense, though. I get it when we put it in this perspective.
Now we're all team King of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and he put them in custody of the house of the captain of the guard. Different captain of the guard, I suppose. We assume.
Sounds like they kind of throw that title out there for anyone.
Or maybe they have like an offense and special teams and defensive captain.
Yeah, it just sounds like kind of a regional manager kind of title that we give people, but just like back in Bible times.
Captain of that guard.
Yeah.
Captain of this guard. House of the captain of the guard in the same prison where Joseph was confined. The captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, and he attended them. After they had been in custody for some time, each of the two men... I'm sorry. I'm so giggly about this. But, like, Joseph and he attended them. Like, they're almost, like, positioning it like Joseph's, like, when your first day at college, when new people show up, he's like, hi! Welcome to prison!
Again, this is white-collar prison back in the day. I think it might have been like
bunk.
that. Let me show you around.
Where are you guys from? But he was so good at being a prisoner, they made him in charge of all the prisoners. So they made after They had been in custody for some time. Each of the two men, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were being held in prison, had a dream the same night. And each dream had a meaning of its own.
They're like fingerprints.
Intrigue. When Joseph came to them the next morning, he saw that they were dejected. So he asked Pharaoh's officials who were in custody with him in his master's house, "Why do you look so sad today? What's good? What's up, guys?"
Let's pat you down. You feel a little bit of the sadness?
He's totally built out as like a cruise director of this prison. And he's like, "Yeah, I saw you guys at the breakfast. And just, well, something seemed off."
You didn't seem happy in prison anymore.
You did.
Something the matter. You miss your family.
You miss freedom. Do you miss that? Is that it?
Oh, you want to bake again?
No, actually. Is the
You know
answer.
what'll make you feel better? If I give you some more work.
Well, I'll give you some work to do. That always makes me feel better. Okay. So, they were so dejected. "Why do you look so sad today?" Verse 7. Verse 8. "We both had dreams," they answered, "but there's no one to interpret them." Making me feel sad. I had a dream and I don't know what it means. No one can explain it to me. How I am a little curious, like, how are you so committed to the dream that you know it means something? Because I have a lot of dreams and I just think it doesn't mean. I'm not sad, I don't know the meaning because I think there's no meaning.
You think it's just because you're not deep enough? Like, you don't think deeply enough? You're thinking surface level on everything. You're just so shallow.
Potentially.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
My wife described me as a goldfish one time. Just going about life with no worries. So maybe it's kind of the same.
I think Joseph heard these guys go, "Hey, we had some dreams and we don't know anything about them." And he's like, "Ooh, dreams? I have dreams. You tell me your dreams and I'm going to tell you all about mine." It's like, dude, take a freaking cold shower, man. Just chill.
Margaret, I'm not coming by the pool for activities today. I'm staying here till we get these dreams figured out.
Like, calm down, buddy.
He loves dreams. And who doesn't, really? We're all about dreams here on the Bible is Funny podcast.
Funny enough, last time we talked about this, like, I went and I listened to a Smartless podcast where they opened up with the story about dreams, and they were talking about people who care about dreams and people who don't. And
really?
I loved it.
Wow. So Joseph said, there's no one to interpret. They're sad, no one to interpret their dreams. Joseph said to them, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams."
Don't they belong to God? Tell them to me.
Well, give them to me.
Yeah, I'll take them all of them.
I'll make sure they get where they're going. So the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream. He said to him, "In my dream, I saw a vine in front of me, and on the vine were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, it blossomed, and its clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, and I squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I put the cup in Pharaoh's hand," which, to my knowledge, is the whole job.
I don't know that that's how you make wine. I think it's got to ferment a couple minutes.
Just squeeze it right out.
Like, I don't want that. At least you know it's fresh.
There's a little skins in there. Here you go. So we got him fired the first time.
With your dirty paws.
Joseph, this is what it means. Joseph said to him, "The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position. And you will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand, just as you used to do when you were his cupbearer."
You can get back to work.
You get right back. Pharaoh keeps reaching for that cup, and he can't quite reach it. And lucky for you, you'll be there to go 90, so Pharaoh can go 10. But when all goes well with you, remember me, show me kindness, mention me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this prison. I was forcibly carried off from the land of the Hebrews, and even here I have done nothing to deserve being put in a dungeon. Well, sounds like maybe you're a little sad, Joseph.
Sounds like you missed the memo that everybody in prison is innocent. Okay, Joe, nobody deserves to be here, pal. We get it.
There's probably a great reason the cupbearer is
right,
in there.
Yeah, you think the baker is like, you're right. I do deserve to be
In hindsight, I shouldn't have gone with the oatmeal raisin.
I used an excessive amount of cumin, and I regret that. Nobody likes that.
Also, way to make it about you so quickly, you know? Tell me your dream. Oh, it means really great stuff. Anyway. So let me tell you about what I have going on.
Yeah, tell me
once you get up there. I was forcibly carried off from the land of the Hebrews, and I didn't do anything wrong. When the chief baker saw that Joseph had given a favorable interpretation, he said to Joseph, I too had a dream. Love that intro, right? Mm-hmm. So you got the baker, you got the cupbearer. Cupbearer's like, they were both like, man, crazy dream. You did too? Oh my gosh, crazy. Joseph says to the cupbearer guy, oh man, you know what that dream means? Getting out of here, bucko. You're going to go back to your old life. It's going to be fantastic. Baker says, well, this seems fun. You gave him a good interpretation. I had a dream too. Let me tell you about this. On my head, there were 3 baskets of bread. On the top of the baskets were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of the basket in my head.
Silly birds?
Not wild. Certainly not more wild than squeezing grapes into a glass and then handing it to somebody. Oh, I'll tell you, this is what it means, Joseph said. This is verse 18. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head and impale your body on a pole.
Oh.
Huh.
Took a turn.
What I think is so, what I think is just so menacing about Joseph here is the pacing of verse 13 when he delivers the interpretation. Pharaoh, this is his interpretation of the cupbearer. Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position. And to the baker he goes, Pharaoh will lift off your head and impale your body on a pole.
Wait, did you say, you said off.
Don't do the cadence the same. Those are very different deliveries when you're delivering those 2 types of news. Mm-hmm. It's wild to me that those are delivered like that.
That's what you get for going second. Like, if you thought you were going to get any good news, you should have gone first.
Right. It's like when someone's like, tell me your name and I'll tell you what it means. And someone's like, oh, my name's Tim. And you're like, oh, it means Prince of Great Value. And you're super great to everybody you meet and everybody loves you and you bring so much joy to their life. And you're like, oh, cool. Tell me what my name means.
Do me next.
Oh, Anthony, it means better off dead. We all wish you were dead. All right. Huh?
It's just what your name means. That's not how we feel.
You gotta change it? And the birds will eat away your flesh. Also, he throws that in end of verse 19.
At that point, what does it matter?
And there's a 3-day gap here, which I do think is funny, kind of to what you said. It's like, Joseph delivers this. We have the whole story, so we're like, we see the sequence. But you gotta think there's 3 days where the baker's like, that guy's crazy. Right?
Right?
Like, that's crazy, right? Like, it's not.
Pharaoh would probably, bake me in an oven, right?
You don't impale a guy for oatmeal raisin cookies, right? Like, that would be crazy if somebody did that. Now, the 3rd day was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a feast for all his officials. He lifted up the heads of the chief cupbearer and the chief baker in the presence of his officials. You know what I do with my birthday is I bring up all my enemies out of the dungeon. I'm like, who's coming to the birthday? Remember those guys we got real ticked out and threw in jail? You want to see if they're busy?
Also, how long were they in jail? I feel like it was only a couple days.
That's true.
Seems like it wasn't that long.
That's true. Maybe more of a timeout. So it's his birthday. He lifted up the heads of the chief cupbearer and the chief baker and the presence of the official. He restored the chief cupbearer to his position so that he once again put the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he impaled the chief baker. It's not funny. Just as Joseph had said to them in the interpretation.
Do you think it was like a skewer, like a little barbecue? It's just it's on the same theme.
The toothpick to see if the brownies are done.
And then to feed the birds, you're just taking the pieces and throwing them up in the air. Just like, here, it's bread. It's like feeding bread or feeding like ducks at the pond.
Yeah. I'm wondering, what are the vibes at this birthday party too, right? Like, everybody's dancing. He brings a cupbearer. You guys remember Mike, the cupbearer? And everyone's like, oh yeah, Mike.
Welcome back, Mike.
I'm giving him his old job back. Yeah. Forgiveness. Reconciliation. He's so fun in the fantasy league. Mike's back. You guys remember Bill, the baker?
Yeah, I do. Now dance. Uh-huh. Having a good time, too. The mood changes starkly.
Party rockers in the house tonight. I love Bill. Everybody just have a good time. Oh, verse 23. The chief cupbearer however, did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. Mm-hmm. There's end of story note.
In case you didn't get it by he didn't remember him.
He didn't remember Joseph. He went as far as to forget him.
The Message version sounds even more heartless. It says, but the head cupbearer never gave Joseph another thought. He forgot all about him.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, just gone from memory.
Well, he's swept up in the party, and then he's got to, get his mail address changed from the dungeon back to his old house.
And to be fair, Joseph didn't, grant him this freedom.
Right.
Joseph just said what was going to happen. He just gave him the news ahead of time. He's not responsible for what happened.
Sure, right.
He just told him 3 days in advance.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like these guys were besties, necessarily. So... maybe this one interaction, maybe you did. Although he is so well built and handsome.
I feel like the description of at the end of the chapter and then the description of the chief cupbearer forgetting him was just simultaneously very dramatic and anticlimactic. We got a guy impaled, and then the other guy just forgot stuff. People. He just forgot it.
Right. And maybe factor that in too, is the cupbearer just got his freedom back in a whirlwind, and then watched who probably was his buddy get impaled right in front of his face. Yeah, so maybe we're a little easier on the cupbearer for he's seen some stuff. He's trying to process a lot in a short amount of time. And yeah, that one guy from the jail that had thoughts on his one dream he had that one time is probably not toppest of mind. He's just trying to get his kids back. If he was in jail, I don't know if he had kids. All right, Tim, what'd you learn today?
Oh boy. What I learned is if you find yourself in a hole, go live with a rich guy. They'll usually fix things. You become blessed. And if you don't want to find yourself in another jam, you sleep with his wife if she demands it.
That's your thing you learned?
Yeah. What happened to Joseph? He
oh my gosh.
He goes and lives with a rich guy, and we're told that he's blessed for it. He's blessed. Everything in Potiphar's house is blessed. And then,
kids,
because he didn't sleep with Potiphar's wife,
please,
he got thrown in jail again. We don't know what would have happened if he would have said okay to that.
Okay. Lessons were learned. I think my big takeaway is equally helpful to people in their life, though. The thing about jobs is you want to be good, but you don't want to be too good. If you're too good at your job, you're going to get more job.
Good, not great.
We don't want more job. We want enough job to take care of our bills.
Yeah.
So aspire to cool stuff in your personal life.
Yeah, seem important, useful, but not vital.
I would say job performance-wise, you want to be getting a C, and then relationally, you want everybody to like you. Yeah. So then you're
clubhouse guy.
Big clubhouse guy. It's the dream spot. You know what I mean? This is a sports term. Clubhouse guy. You're on
from Mickey Mouse.
The team. You're on the team. You're making the same-ish money as everybody else.
It's enough.
You're not doing half of the work.
No.
But everybody likes you.
Yeah.
So when it comes time, you're Tim's just not really delivering that much. Oh, we can't get rid of Tim.
Clubhouse guy.
They'd be devastated. The whole team would be devastated. Well, okay. Yes, we'll keep. That's my lesson. That's what I think we can take away from this. It's really helpful.
We all learned some important things, folks. I think you can agree that what I learned is what you probably learned too. Some people are afraid to admit it.
Also, just be careful with oatmeal raisin cookies, because one of those comes out at the wrong time.
Don't even touch them.
Don't touch. Stay away. Stay far away. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on our today's Cheat Day Devo journey through the Bible. I think, like you said, we've all learned a lot.
I'm better. I'm closer to God because of it.
Sheep was here.
What do you think?
It hit again.
I know. I can't name it that. I was referring to the sheep.
Because
it's a U.
Yes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listeners, we love you. We'll be back here with another podcast episode here very soon, and we'll talk to you then.
Okay.
Bye-bye.